Are the slides visible now?
No, ma'am.
Not yet, but it is showing resume or presentation.
Ma'am, can you send me that?
Slides.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, just a second.
Okay.
I have sent you the slides on the WhatsApp.
Okay, ma'am. I'm seeing.
Yeah, now it is visible. But I think you will have to mute me from your side, otherwise there will be.
Ma'am, you are connected with two devices.
No.
Now, okay. Yes, ma'am. Please.
Yes, once you are ready with the slide, then I can start. And I'd like you to put it on the slideshow.
Yes, ma'am.
Please put it on the slideshow. So dear participants, as you see that there are some technical problems and I will try to overcome that because there are lots of games to be played during the course of this training program. And I hope that this situation rectifies itself after some time. So here by the gamification of learning, as I said, that there will be if possible, if it is possible in today's meeting, then I'll be sending you lots of links where you will have to log in and play and we will get the answers instantly. Now coming to the next slide, slide number 2, please. Yes, sir, can you please put it on the slideshow so that it will cover the whole screen?
Ma'am, actually, if I'll play that one, but I cannot be able to control that.
Okay, okay, fine. Okay. So let us, yes. So this slide says, what is gamification? Gamification, actually, the word has been introduced, or we are becoming quite familiar with this word during the lockdown. Is it not? When all the teaching went online. And then there were so many platforms telling us, oh, come on, we will teach the children this, that, and what not they promised. They promised even the stars through gamification. Now, what is actually that gamification? The gamification is actually using the video game design and game elements in a learning environment. Okay, video game designs, you see the students are playing with the video games. They're using the keys of the mobiles or on the laptops to, take the characters left, right, up, down, or to shoot, or to run after somebody, or to do some type of activities. So that is the video game design and game elements in the learning environment. But why? Why gamification? Gamification is actually to motivate the students, to inspire them to continue learning by capturing the interest of the learners. You have to capture the interest of the learners, because as you know now that since the introduction of the TV screen, then the mobile phones, the laptops and all, the students have got very less span of concentration. Okay, less span of interest, something they don't feel interested in the basic two-dimensional black and white letters of the book. So you have to make it colorful, you have to make it multidimensional, you have to make it dynamic also. So to motivate the students and to inspire them to continue learning by capturing the image of the learners. Now, gamification itself does not affect the learning directly, but stimulates a learning related behavior. Okay, learning related behavior in a mediating process. It will not affect the learning directly, but stimulates. It will stimulate the learning environment, learning related behavior. And what happens when people go for gamification, when students go for gamification? The learner's behavior can also be predicted to some extent. Okay, based on the way the learners tend to perceive, understand, and utilize information. Now, how this is related to artificial intelligence? Again, the learner behavior can be predicted to some extent, and the way the learners tend to perceive, understand, and utilize the information. I see that many participants have raised their hands. So, may I know the reason, or if you can write it in the chat box, then I can know why they have raised the hands, and we will try to satisfy the queries, because as I will be presenting the screen, and then there will be also some videos. So let us see if you have raised your hands, if you can clarify your queries. Then let us go to the slide number 3. That is the advantages of gamification. Please move to slide number 3. What are the advantages of gamification? Yes, the advantages of gamification, as discussed in the previous slide, it increases the learner's motivational level. They get motivated. Gamification is also addictive, as you will see. Improves the knowledge retention. Improves the knowledge retention. Why? We will see it in the next slide. And involves better learner engagement through social mechanisms like badges, points, and leaderboards. Is it not? When you play a mobile game, if you cover a level, you are given certain badges, you are given certain points, and then if you are playing with multiple people, you get the leaderboard. The leaderboard is there, you get to see. And what happens is that through engagement and collaboration, it allows the students to learn more efficiently, because they are engaged in the learning process and they are collaborating with the other students. So it improves the learning process by using game elements in a non-game context. That is very important, in a non-game context. Let us move to the next slide. Next slide, please.
Arvind, please be alert. Arvind, sir. Arvind, are you there?
Dear participants, can you now see the screen?
Ma'am, I am audible.
Yes, you are audible. I'll just ask one request, that if you can stop your screen sharing and allow me to share.
Okay, miss, I'm
I'll
doing
just, yes.
that. Please, ma'am.
So now let me just try to share. Okay. And I just want, what are you seeing? Arvind sir, if you are there.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, you resume the presentation, because I think somebody else is also presenting. So it is not allowing me to do that.
Ma'am, but only admin can present that one.
Only admin can. Then have you given me all the rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But it is continuously showing me that resume presentation and somebody else is presenting.
So may I present for that?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, okay, madam. We'll do it.
But Arvind, be alert.
Yes, so now we are in this slide. What does this slide show? What does this slide show? Actually, this slide shows one snake and ladder game. This we have all played in our, when we were young, or during the lockdown period, when we had lots of time and we, rediscovered our hobbies. So this bonded the family over that board game. But here in this snakes and ladders game, actually, what is seen, if you can zoom and see, it is actually the health chart which was pasted on the outside of the doctor's OPD. And it shows that what leads to a healthy lifestyle, and if you are having some unhealthy habits, what happens. Because see, we are always asked to follow a very healthy lifestyle, but what do? we always put it for the next time. Abhi Diwali hai, let me eat something. From the next month, I will start dieting. I'll take control of my health. Abhi to Christmas hai. So again, let me have lots of cakes and pastries and all. It is allowed, Then comes Holi, then comes so and so. So it gets postponed, and we just keep on having those unhealthy habits. Of course, eating cakes, ice creams, or oily foods or fried foods is not unhealthy if you have it once in a while. But if your body does not allow you, or if you have made it a habit of having it more than the required amount, then what happens is that we neglect or we harm ourselves. So if somebody will tell you like this, because we are always advised to do that, we don't neglect it. It does not come, it does not become our habit to listen to them. Okay, but this board will help you to know what happens if you have an unhealthy lifestyle. See, suppose let us start. If this is a board game, you have the dices and you throw the dice, and there you see that you have come to this point where you have adequate salt consumption. So there is a ladder, because everybody tells that, decrease the salt consumption. So you are with the ladder, you again go to that BP in control. Okay, very nice. From point number 7, I jumped to point number 21 immediately. Again, the ladder goes, and then you are again there. Then you come to sugar and cholesterol in limit, and you go to cholesterol in control. But if suddenly you go to fatty and oily food, what happens? You come down to high BP. And then you have got smoking, the habit. What happens? You come down to the risk of cancer. See what happens in this game of dice. It's very interesting if you have it with the children, because then only they will learn. Why? Because they're getting the points also. Then there is that undisciplined daily routine. What happens? Increases fat and weight. Okay. And then what happens when you have bakery and junk food? Risk of high cholesterol. People tell you to stay healthy. If you are obese, doctors will tell you to reduce the weight. What happens? You have a fat waist, and then you get into the weak heart. So this is the way to play the game with your students, and why students, even with us also. And if this is pasted in your kitchen wall, in front of the snacks corner, definitely you will first look at it, and then I think the screen sharing is lost again. Then what happens is that you will give it a thought before indulging in your favorite snacks. वो वहाँ chips रखा है, वहाँ cake रखा है, लेने के पहले once at least sometime you will glance into that chart, and maybe you will pull your hand back. So that is what gamification of learning. And what does it teach us? It teaches you about the healthy food. Yes, now let us move to the next slide. Let us move to the next slide. That is, gamification is beneficial. Why? It is beneficial because it instills lifelong skills such as problem solving and critical thinking. I want the participants to just write in the chat box small words, sentences. How will it help in problem solving and critical thinking? Because you have also done gamification in your life, knowingly or unknowingly. So how will gamification involve or instill problem solving and critical thinking in the students, in the learners? Not only the students, in the learners. By gamification, anybody can learn. Because, first was the last slide which I had shown to you. And the second was, when you are stuck at a level and you have to find out some out-of-box thinking to cross that level. So that will instill the problem solving and critical thinking. And then also comes social awareness and cooperation. Social awareness, yes, you can have some games for social awareness. I will again show you how, if the system allows me to play the videos, then it will be a social awareness game video also. Cooperation, if you are playing with other persons, if you have the pair system, that is cooperation. And collaboration, if you are playing as a team. The next slide, please. Actually here, I had actually one video for the Mentimeter. You all have used Mentimeter before, but here, sir, cannot connect it because it is linked to my system. So let me see if I can. I'm just trying it once again.
First, I'll stop, ma'am. Then you will try.
Acha, theek hai. Let us see. Let us try. Yes, sir. Let me just try.
Yes, now you try. No?
Just a second. Is the screen visible now? Hello?
No, ma'am.
Still not? No. Okay.
Hello. Wait a minute. More meetings that are more.
Is it visible now?
No, ma'am. You
Yeah,
share it. Nothing, ma'am.
Nothing.
You have shared the screen.
I have shared the screen. It is showing me either stop screen sharing or resume presenting. That is the problem that I'm facing.
No, ma'am. But
okay, then I think I cannot use the video in this video and the links in this
browser
training.
you are using, ma'am?
Huh?
Browser? Which browser you are using?
I'm using Chrome.
Chrome. So problem not be there. We are also using Chrome.
So some other problem might be there because here today it is raining heavily.
So that's why this issue is.
So that's why there might be some problem. So, sir, I have stopped the screen sharing. I cannot show the video. Participants, very sorry for that. But let us continue with the training. Sir, you please share the screen.
Yes.
Yes. So all of you have used the Mentimeter before. So let me tell you, since I'm not able to share the screen, the Mentimeter can be a simple yes/no type of a poll also. How does the Mentimeter help? A simple yes/no type of a poll, or there can be the word cloud, or there can be a quiz also. So what happens is that the Mentimeter, when you are in a lecture hall or when you are in a training hall, just think about your training. You have the speaker and you have the audience. You are the audience. Okay, you have the speaker also who is giving you the training. And previously, when the mobile phones were not so much in fashion, even 2 years back, it was in fashion, but it was not in fashion during the meetings. And everybody told you to come on, switch off your mobile phone or put it on silent mode. Now also we put it on silent mode, but nowadays people will say that, okay, come on, take out the mobile. I'm going to share some links with you. So now that when you use the Mentimeter, you can get instant feedback, immediate result on what the speaker is asking and what the audience view is on that. Actually, it is very, and when you are using the Mentimeter, every voice can be heard. Voice can be heard how? Through the polls. When you enter into the polls, when you give the polls, your name is flashed, and then you can see that, yes, what is your view on that topic. So that is what is the Mentimeter for. It's very flexible and it gives an immediate feedback. And what did it do? And what did the Mentimeter do in the last few years? It broke the barrier between the speaker and the audience. It broke the barrier between the speaker and the audience. Now let us move to the next slide, please. Let's move to the next slide. Yeah, somebody has written like KBC audience poll. In fact, I had that, but I'm not able to show it to you. Arvind sir, please move to the next slide.
Arvind, respond, please. I think the weather is bad here also.
I think he is also facing problem from his side.
Maybe network issue is there, ma'am.
Have you changed the slide?
Actually, I have changed, but due to network, it is not coming there. It will little time take. It will come.
Okay, so tell me, what are you seeing on the slide? If you can read out first one or two words.
Game also motivate.
Okay.
Like
so the problem might be with the network also. So, sir, continue sharing. So in this slide, what it gives the interest to certain subjects and reduces the rate of attrition. Why? How will you say that? How does gamification reduce the rate of attrition? Have you seen that now? Arvindji? Please share the screen. I hope.
just a minute.
Yes. Okay. So, dear participants, I think there is some problem with the platform today. So let me just go through it and let me just give you a understanding of what we are trying to do. You will say that how does it reduce the rate of attrition amongst the students? The rate of attrition amongst the students can be the rate of attrition amongst the students can be reduced because they are hooked onto the games, and people learn better when it is the situation is playful. So that's why it might reduce the attrition level. Maybe the students will not score much, but it will help them in understanding the concepts of the topic, or they can have their imagination run wild for the subject, and that will also come into the gamification. And in the process they can improve their grades or enhance their cognitive abilities. It can be like that also. Okay. So now in the next one, what is actually the yes, let us go to the next slide now. What is actually the neuroscience of gamification? The brain works in harmony with the gamification. What happens? There is the hand-eye coordination is excellent. If you if you try to talk to a person who is playing the game, do they respond to you immediately, or are they immersed in their games? They are immersed in their games because of their hand-eye coordination along with the brain. And what happens is that the brain also triggers the release of the dopamine because of the gamification. And dopamine is the happy hormone, which gives the players an increased feeling of motivation and enjoyment. Is it not? Have you seen suddenly the young boys and girls, they are suddenly exclamation, celebration, something. You will ask what happened. They will say that I won a level. You will be thinking before the corona, of course, because of all this, ye kya baat hua? Jeete to jeete. But because he got so involved, and nowadays even you are also doing the involvement, you are also getting involved in the gamification process. Now you actually understand what gives the player the increased feeling of motivation and enjoyment. It is because of the hormone dopamine. Arvindji, please press enter. Don't go to the next slide. Please press enter, because here it shows that how exactly it works. Actually, gamification psychology is the field that studies the behavior of users in the gamified system. Okay, so how exactly do they work? Let us see how exactly. And this field of study is called the gamification psychology. The next slide, please. Actually, in the next slide, I had the KBC song being played. And whenever we hear the KBC song, here, of course, I'm not able to play it for you because of some reason. So here the KBC song, as soon as you hear it, even though you might not be in front of your TV screen, what happens? I hope all of you can hear me. What happens is that you visualize the game in front of you. You visualize the game in front of you, is it not? So that is the recollection power. Let us move to the next slide. And this slide actually answers, this KBC song is actually the connection between the neuroscience of gamification and the last question, how exactly do they work together? Arvindji, please press enter. Yes, so gamification connects people on the emotional level. It influences individuals' attention. Just now I explained how. By facilitating encoding and retrieval of information. Encoding where? In the brain. And then from the brain, the retrieval of information more effectively, making the learning process much more efficient. ऐसा नहीं कि पढ़े और भूल गए. Because the students or the learners, why should I use the word students? The learners have used their hand, eye, and the brain together. The recall power is much more. And when you recall something, that means you have learned something. The learning process is much more efficient. That again, press enter, Arvind sir. And then recall. Recall is controlled by what? Actually, recall is controlled by the hippocampus, which also releases the dopamine. Recall is controlled by the hippocampus, which also releases the dopamine. And what does dopamine do? We are going into the hormones now. Actually, it is all related to that. It helps to maintain focus on a task. Actually, what? It, see, controls the amount. Dopamine, what does it do? See, it is very different from the previous hormone, that is the it is actually, how does it do? See, it will stimulate the hippocampal memory. And what does the hippocampal memory do? It controls the amount of information that we recall and remember, that is similar to the dopamine hormone, which we discussed in the first slide, and here also it is there. And then again, press enter, Arvind sir. Stories. Why do you remember the picture that you had seen maybe 5 years, 10 years, 15 years back? Because there was a character sketch, there was the background, there were plots and twists, and it was said in the form of a story. So stories are easier to remember, recollect, and the brain processes the facts much more better. So storytelling elements you have to put in the gamification. If you are designing your own gamification process, you will have to make a background and then deliver it to the students. Otherwise, it will be just like the Google Forms or the Microsoft Forms that we always give to the students. That is not gamification of learning. Okay, gamification should always have the enjoyment factor into that. Next slide, sir. So gamification, please press enter. Yes, game playing involves endorphin release. What are endorphins? These are different from the dopamine. Endorphin, these are the natural painkillers. These are released while playing games and other engaging activities. So have you seen where is that endorphin and is used mostly when the children, they're suffering from some diseases, maybe mainly in the hospitals. You will see in the children's ward that, there are some game elements are there. When they play the game, they forget their pain. because the natural painkillers are released because of the endorphin. Okay, it creates an environment ideal for focused learning. Now next, again, please press enter. Yes, and playing games keeps the brain healthy. What is written? It will prevent age-related cognitive decline. That why do doctors suggest that do engage in some activities for the old people? Because if you don't do, your neurons die. Even for students also, even for young people also, if you stop thinking about a particular subject, or you don't do research on that, if your brain is just passive, what happens is that the neurons dry up, the neurotransmitters also dry up. Then again, if you start practicing, you become better and better in that. So that is called neuroplasticity, the ability of the neural networks in the brain to change through growth and reorganization. That's why whether it is the video game or whether it is the normal game on the field, why people are attracted to it. People of any age are attracted to it because it helps to keep their brain healthy, and it avoids or reverses the process of neurodegeneration. So encourage neuroplasticity means when the brain functions or is reviewed to function in some way that differs from how it was previously functioning. So maybe this gamification of learning might even help the people to recover from the stroke. Next slide, please. Yes, now it is behaving in a better way, the platform. So this is the gamification versus game-based learning. What is the difference between gamification and game-based learning? Can anybody say? Please write it on the chat box, because I had just explained about the gamification. How does it differ? These two words look or sound synonyms of each other, but they are not the same. How they are not the same? Let us go to the next slide. They are not the same in the sense that in the game-based learning, I'm starting with the game-based learning because whenever we say gamification, the first thought that goes to us is that ये तो playway method है, ये तो game-based learning. No, in the game-based learning, which we are teaching to the students in the schools since last many years, students are learning specific skills or knowledge from playing an actual game. But in that means they're learning something in the game-based learning. Gamification, it will not teach them something new. How? I'll tell you. It will not teach them something new, but it is involving game elements in the non-game context to enhance comprehension and promote better retention of information. Somebody has written gamification is a process, but studies can be made easy with with the help of activities like games. Yes, it can be. Okay, let's go to the next slide. What are the strategies in gamification for learning? When you play a mobile game, what happens? You get the points. The same way, you can give the points to the students also. Just a second. Excuse me. So, point system, how does it help in the gamification? It shows the students how much they have progressed in the lessons, because sorry for that interruption. Actually, I was having a very bad bout of cough. So, when the students cross a level, they are given points. Even you are collecting points when you cross the levels in the mobile phones, is it not? So that is the point system. Then the badges. Sometimes, other than the points, they will give you a crown or they will give you some flowers. the badges to be collected and which can be used afterwards. Leaderboards, as I said, for creating competition amongst the students. When there are various levels to the actual game or gamification of learning of that particular topic, you give the leaderboards, because the one who answers first may not be the one who is actually the winner at the end of the game. Challenges. Challenges means to think out of the box to develop a solution. Students have to complete something using their time and effort. Where in the gamification of learning, what are they learning? They're learning the subjects. How? I'll again tell you. And then there might be some element of surprise. Certain steps are unlocked. Certain gifts are unlocked. Certain lifelines are unlocked. So that is the element of surprise. Let's go to the next slide, please. Actually, this was the KBC video where we had the leaderboard. And see, all of you are watching the KBC and you are very familiar with the leaderboard nowadays. Okay, what are they saying? They are giving 3 questions. And the first question is there somebody is the leader. The second question, it may change, may not change. Third question also, it may change, may not change. But more or less, sometimes, most of the time, it changes. So that means a person who has performed consistently becomes the leader. And how excited that participant is when they get to hear their names in the leaderboard, is it not? So that is the way, creating competition amongst the students for the leaderboard. This is what the leaderboard does. Then come to the next slide, please. Your own gamified strategy. If you are having to make some games or for gamification in the school setting, what game elements you should be considered? Narrative, as I said, background, the story, immediate feedback. Then only the people will enjoy where they are, how much position or what position they have scored. It should be fun also. Otherwise, there is no game. Scaffolded learning. You will give them some challenges to learn. That is called scaffolded learning. Then they will learn that and go to the next level. Progress indicators. Progress indicator is the one which is through the point system or the badges. Social connection and player control. Player control, how? Think about the KBC. Player is controlled through the time. Quizzes are also controlled through the time. You have to finish it within that time. That is the player control. If you do 2 fouls, you are out. If you say wrong answer in the KBC, you fall down from one level to the next level, to the level below that, to the previous level. And then you say, hi, why did I say like that? So that was a player control. So this thing should be there in your gamified strategy. Next slide, please. Arvindji, next slide, please. Yes, the 9 gamification elements. So here are the 9 gamification elements. As I said, rules, goals, strategy, achievement, mastery, fun, collaboration, progress, and appreciation. Now, again, let's go to the next slide. Examples of gamification. Okay, giving points for meeting academic objectives. Yes, you are giving them points. See, the final result, the final rank of the student is decided maybe at the final term examination. But before that, you are giving the points to the students, is it not? Who comes first in the pre-board, who comes first in the second pre-board, and who is actually the winner, or the front runner, or the leader. So you're giving them points for meeting academic objectives. They will collect as many points as possible. Then giving points for accomplishing non-academic objects. If you are having a competition amongst the different houses of your school, and there you give the points for like maybe which house is the most disciplined or which classroom is the most cleanest classroom. The students all participate and go for the work, and there you can give the points. Reflect on personalized performance to track the progress. Okay, using different methods of progression like levels and checkpoints, where the learners feel they're progressing through the game, and if they're not able to cross that level, they will do multiple attempts, they will go do from out of box thinking. That is for progression. Provide the option to give badges other than points, that is your choice, and using different platforms or applications like tablets, smartphone, PCs, whatever is there you can use it for the gamification. Let's go to the next slide also. This was actually the KBC video, because as it was discussed in the previous slide, that you should have the rules for the games. Yes, any gamification of learning topic should also have the rules for the games. And here actually Amitabh Bachchan was explaining the rules to the participants. What are the rules, how much player control he has, what are the challenges he faces, and if he crosses a level, what are the gifts that he gets. Gifts in the sense that which level opens. Abhi aapke liye और एक द्वार खुल जाता है, he says like that, na? You get another lifeline, or this one gets activated. So that is what KBC is one of the best example of gamification of learning. Are we learning anything new? No. You have all learned about this general knowledge when you were in the school, or you are still learning it now in your current affairs. That is what they're asking. You are not learning anything new. You are just recollecting. So let's go to the next slide. What are the examples of gamification in education? All of you have heard about the Khan Academy, the Byju's, the Unacademy, and all. What do? Actually, they employ gamification practices to assist the measurement of progress and achievements of the students. And they also use the badges, the leaderboards, and everything to let the students compete amongst themselves. Okay, so one is the main teaching process, and another one is the gamification for the students to learn. Okay, then Quizlet, simple, effective quizzes on study material. Actually, this Quizlet is the site where you can go and you can generate your own quiz questions, or there are some quiz questions available also. There is the time limit also given, and where you have to do, and then within that time you have to complete that. Actually, I had that in the slide, but he will not be able to play today, so sometime other. So there you can get immediate feedback on how much you know and what is your score, which were the correct answers and what answers you did it wrong. Duolingo is for learning the languages to practice and play. Okay, and there also you can increase your level and compete with the others. Kahoot, we have heard about this Kahoot many times. Many teachers, it was a favorite of many teachers during the online classes. Actually, it uses the game mechanisms or mechanics that follow gamification methodology. Okay, and Google Read Along app, it improves the reading experiences of the young learners. Yes, now let's move to the next slide, please. The next slide is actually, I am not able to show it to you because the link is not there with Mr. Arvindji. It was actually the quiz where I would have given it to you, and you would have, it was just a 60 seconds quiz. There were 10 questions in that, and you would have got the feedback immediately on your mobile that, yes, what is my level? Everybody, see, each and every individual in this world, when he or she appears for a test or an examination or an assessment, is always interested to know about the result. Okay, when the gap between the result and the assessment is long, it does not give so much of excitement, it gives fear. And when it is instant, it is fun. And then you can do. So let's go to the next slide, please. Here, actually, again, I had two videos. One for the White Hat Junior, you have heard about it. You have many of your students, many of your children might also be there in the White Hat Junior. What do? They're teaching the students simple coding, and they're teaching them maths, music through that. Minecraft, yes. Many of you might have been exposed to the Minecraft. Again, it also came during the online classes of the students, and then everybody got interested to know actually what is Minecraft. Minecraft is the one where I was telling you about that how can the students use it for studies. Minecraft will actually have some blocks, the cubes. Okay, and cubes, there are cubes, there are blocks, there are NFTs, and there are also some redstone. Now, each stands for a different thing. With the cubes, you can make the persons. Okay, or also with the cubes and the blocks, you can make anything you want. You can make a grassland, you can make the animals, you can make some other things. And with the redstone, which can it will help you, or you can make the primitive mechanical devices or the electric circuits and logic gates for construction of the complex system. Now we say how, what is the use? Many of you have used the Minecraft. Many of the students are using the Minecraft. Use it for making the projects if it is applicable. Maybe in the lower classes we can do till standard 8. We can ask the students to make the projects on the Minecraft, because this Minecraft game has got no required goals to accomplish. Whatever the students think, they can do it. They can present it to you. You can ask them to draw the and make a project on the conservation of water, or make a project on the pollution, or anything you do. You can even have the volcanic eruptions, but you will say how. It is the students that they will do the coding, and they will see what all they does, and let their imagination run wild. Maybe some good things, some innovative ideas will come out from it. So that is the Minecraft. Next, let us go to the next slide. That is the Prodigy. Actually, the Prodigy is the one of the free platforms which is available, because most of the platforms are the paid platforms. They will not allow you to enter unless you buy those products. But it is one of the free platforms which is available. Here you can learn maths and English. And first, before you enter, you have to log in. You have to select your level, which class you are in, and what you want to study, maths or English, and then they will ask you to do it in a playway method. When you do the maths, there will be one with whom you will have to play, and there will be a monster also who will try to spoil your play. Now, what are these play? These plays are nothing but some certain mathematical simple problems to be solved, and these are very interesting. And because why? Because you will be also given certain arms in the sense that you can use the magic wand, you can use the other rubber catapult and all as the weapons to hit your opponent. When can you hit the opponent? Only when you get the right answer. And when the monster's points reduced to 0, you can progress in the game. So that is also very interesting. I was supposed to show you, but I'm not able to. Again, sorry for that. Now let's go to the next slide. Not that, previous one. Let's learn languages. Remember the Duolingo that I had spoken about. Here you can learn any language. This is free. It starts from the beginner's level, and you can also achieve the expert level also. And this is very, very interesting. If you have the time, you can just go through it. Simple one. I had actually set it for Spanish. So we were going to learn Spanish today in the last 10 minutes of the training. So since we could not do it, again, let me see. How to do actually, Arvindji, if I can try presenting my screen again once, if it is possible.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Let me just see. Are you all able to see the screen?
No, ma'am.
It's not coming. Okay, let's go back to your presentation only then. Let's go back to your presentation. So it was the last slide, actually, the last slide which said thank you. But since we had learned Spanish, Arvindji, let's go to the last slide. Since we had, and just press enter. So since we had learned Spanish, why should I say thank you to you all? I will say gracias. That is thank you in Spanish. And had this been had it allowed me to present the screen and all, I think it would have been a very interesting training. But thank you all for staying with me in this difficult 1-hour training. But I hope that you understood what is the gamification of learning and you will employ that in your teaching. You are using many of the things, but now let the students also do it. Encourage them to do, not during the school hours, but maybe you have to plan out when they will use it, and you can help your students to learn. So gracia to all of you once again.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Arvind sir, please proceed.
Thank you, sir.
Kamal sir will give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, all those who are writing gracia on the chat screen. You know, it makes it fun because today's training was very interactive and enjoyable. So thank you all. Gracia.
Mr. Kamal Pakur, please proceed.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. For today's golden opportunity for a vote of thanks, I would like to thank Mr. Zubin Bose sir and Tikeshina sir for the bottom of my heart, due to whose efficient leadership and strong willpower. Today, 3 to 4 cluster teachers are getting training under the banner of Jharkhand Federation. I also would like to thank all the chairpersons, vice chairpersons, STNC principals for their continuous effort for betterment of the teachers. I also would like to thank our resource person, Dr. SUBHOSREE SARKAR, really a wonderful trainer, kept very informative things on today's session. Topic gamification of learning, which is very helpful and fruitful. So many teachers are thinking that let's complete 25 hours of training, but I believe that we are becoming teachers now. So thank you very much. Thank you to all of you. And at last, today's new word I learned, gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
Gracias.
you, ma'am. The link for the feedback has been given. We will all recuse ourselves. Only teachers who have to submit their feedback. Please submit the feedback before you leave. Ma'am, thank you. In spite of the glitch, technical glitch, still it was very interesting. So if you can talk to Arvind once to see if the presentation can be done in between, the next session we'll see what can be done.
Yes, I'll have a discussion with him now.
Please.
What can be done?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.